Steve, I've spent 5 years. I've spent millions of dollars, millions of my own money, traveling this entire country campaigning for President Trump, defending him when everyone abandoned him after January 6th. And I would say I represent MAGA far more than Mark Levin or any of these other neocon suck-ups ever will and ever do, because MAGA is not for foreign wars. We are not for regime change, and we are for America first. That's not isolationism at all. That's for fixing our $37 trillion debt. That's fighting for border security. That's fighting for my kids, Steve. My kids are 22, 25, and 27, and I want them to have a future. And I am sick and tired of people like this. These, a lot of these people are going to be dead in 10 to 15 years. But my kids' future matters to me. And right now, their generation can't buy a house. They can't afford insurance. They can't get good paying jobs. They can't afford groceries. They can't afford to buy a car. They can't afford gas. They don't know if they're ever going to be able to save money for their retirement because they're barely making it paycheck to paycheck. And I am so angry about this. We are entering a nuclear war, World War III, because the entire world is going to erupt. And you want to know the people that are cheering it on right now? Their tune is going to drastically change the minute we start seeing flag draped coffins on the nightly news, on Fox News that brainwashes all the baby boomers, and on CNN that brainwashes all the Democrat baby boomers. And that is exactly how this is going to go down.
You can see her passion, that this goes beyond just politics. This goes to a generational problem, the boomers versus everyone else afterwards. Marjorie Taylor Greene is absolutely correct, because she is looking past the politics of it and focusing directly on the real issues that are universally accepted. And that is the previous generation have been obsessing over the wrong things. She sees the horrors that her children are facing. She has seen the boomers lust over wars and how this misplaced philosophy has caused them to put everything else on the back burner, their nation, their financial institution, and even the well-being of their own children. According to Joseph Sternberg, the baby boomers wrecked the economy for millennials. This is the theft of a decade. Baby boomers stole the millennials' economic future, and now the millennials have found themselves saddled with a broken economy and a combustible job market thanks to the careless choices of baby boomer politicians. Sternberg believes the problem is that Republicans and Democrats have continually sought a third way between state intervention and market freedom. The result, he writes, is a dysfunctional system that encourages corruption and rigs the game in favor of big business. The idea of one generation robbing another until they have nothing left is often discussed in the context of generational theft. Generational theft is a term used to describe a situation where the actions and policies of one generation negatively impact the economic prosperity and opportunities of future generations. This concept is often used to criticize unsustainable economic practices, particularly regarding government debt and social programs. Marjorie Taylor Greene's statement is factual that the boomers have caused so many issues that the rippling effects are hurting generations. The great boomer financial bottleneck and their greed has destroyed the economy, and now millennials and Gen Z are paying the price. Parents bear the responsibility for the worst inflationary crisis since the 1970s. Boomers, who were for a long time the largest generation in global history, they are leaving behind an economy that isn't really built to accommodate the demands of the 21st century. Boomers have spent the past few decades shaping the world in such a way that has made the current crunch more painful and sets up future generations for continued deprivation. The fact that this economy is brittle, stingy, and built on undersupply, it all comes down to responsibility when policymakers make decisions, especially those with significant long-term impacts. There is an inherent responsibility to consider the potential consequences for future generations. For example, taxes are collected, are increasingly redistributed to the generation who needs them least. In 1985, the federal government spent 3 times more per capita on seniors than it did on kids. By 2019, that ratio had risen to 8 times. We've cut senior poverty from 17% in the 1970s to 9% today, which is admirable. But child poverty has risen over that same period from 16% to 19%. The greatest challenge facing the U.S. It's not inequality, climate change, or war in the Middle East, but an issue that threads these threats together. America's war on the young, a war of mutually assured destruction. The success of a society is how it treats children, the younger generations. Not how individuals parent, but the success of the structures, incentives, and leadership charged with preventing a tragedy of the commons. The boomers have broken the social contract that binds America. Work hard, play by the rules, and you'll be better off than your parents were. For the first time in America history, this is no longer true. Today's 25-year-olds make less than their parents and grandparents did at the same age. Yet they carry student debt loads unimaginable to earlier generations. Neither the minimum nor median wage has kept pace with inflation or productivity gains, while housing costs have outpaced them. The statistics on children's and young adults' well-being are staggering. None of this is lost on young people, and the shattering of the social contract has left them feeling rage and shame. This generation has to sell blood in order to make a living. It's unimaginable that they have to put their food and groceries on layaway. Is it any wonder that they're taking record levels of antidepressants? And if that's not bad enough, they are saddled with a national debt that is nearing $38 trillion and beyond. Half of Americans older than 55 say they are extremely proud to be American. That number drops to 18% among 18 to 34-year-olds. This weakens the immune system of America, allowing minor cuts to the U.S. society to bring on deadly, opportunistic infections. The resources are there to help today's generations. It's just that their slice of the pie is so small it's no longer generationally sustainable. The boomers who benefited most from the extraordinary post-war economic boom of the 20th century have pulled the ladder up behind them. In 1989, adults under 40 held 12% of household wealth, while those over 70 held 19%. Today, those under 40 command just 7% of household wealth, while those over 70 control 30%. Intergenerational inequality and the negative impact on today's generation is so obvious. Why should we be shocked about the inequality their children are facing? Inequality has been the mantra for the baby boomers for countless decades, a hierarchical way of doing business and social behaviors, which of course leads to great instability. This instability is exacerbated by their obsession with war. The boomers made their own children second-place citizens in their own country. This is textbook financial abuse, this term that includes misuse of a child's identity or assets for personal gain. Parents might misuse a child's bank accounts, take their earned money, or exploit their clean credit history to obtain loans or credit cards in the child's name, according to Sylvia's Place. This can leave the child with debt and damaged credit, hindering their financial future. Parents' actions, whether intentional or unintentional, can negatively impact their children's financial futures and perpetuate generational inequality. The phrase financial child abuse
This is also called generational inequality, highlights a crucial aspect of both concepts on how actions in one generation can negatively impact the financial well-being of future generations. Financial child abuse, where a child's resources or financial well-being is harmed by a parent or guardian, can indeed contribute to wider intergenerational inequality. So what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing is intervening in cases of intergenerational abuse. This is crucial not only to protect her children, but also to disrupt the cycle of intergenerational inequality for all of today's generations. It's important by providing support and resources to break the cycle of abuse is essential for both individual well-being and broader societal equity.